Hello, I'm Gil Zilkha. Welcome to my channel, Essential Classical Music, where we look at the best recordings of the classical music repertoire. This video is taken out of my larger video on solo vocal works. I hope you enjoy it. Now we come to the giant of lieder, Franz Schubert. He was remarkably prolific for someone who died only at the age of 31. Wrote over 600 songs. And perhaps most notably, in addition to just writing so many songs, is the art of the song cycle, the through-composed work that has a narrative to it. His most famous one, and the most famous of the genre, is Winterreise, Winter Journey. This is a work based on poetry by the German romantic Wilhelm Müller. And it's the marriage of the music and the poetry, especially. It's a winter journey. It's based on basically early on you find out that the protagonist lost at love and is embarking on this lonely journey, and it's very dark. But really, it's sort of a journey that all of us can relate to, even if it's not specifically love. It's just going through really obviously tough times, and the poetry is just really inventive. For example, number 15, Die Krähe, the crow, where he's walking along and the crow is sort of waiting for him to die so that he can feast upon the poet. So it's always kind of teetering between death and hope. And at the end, the final song, Der Leiermann, the hurdy-gurdy man. Hurdy-gurdy is this boxed string instrument that you kind of wind, and it has this droning sound, which is mimicked in the piano line in that final song. It's interesting because the way it ends, he sees the hurdy-gurdy man, and it's almost like he finds a friend in his loneliness, and he kind of goes off with him. It reminds me a little bit of the end of Casablanca, when Rick goes off and says, "Louis, this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship." And it feels like that. It's actually a good analogy because in a similar way, it's sort of a vague ending. It almost feels like there's this wisdom gained through all the dashed hopes and dreams as you go off into the mist. Really wonderful song set. And like any great work, there's going to be a slew of wonderful interpretations. I'm not going to recommend, generally speaking, that you get just one. But my first recommendation is a relatively newer one from the late 80s. This is from Olaf Behr, accompanied by Jeffrey Parsons on piano. And what I really like about this one is the combination of beauty of tone and artistry. He has this strong, virile tone, but he's also able to sing the most delicate passages as well. Really the right amount of expression and vulnerability really draws you into the poetry. But you also admire just the beauty of it, the beauty of the writing. So that's a great combination, especially if you're coming to this work for the first time, and wonderfully recorded as well. I also want to recommend one of those proverbial timeless classics of the gramophone. This one comes from 1954. This is with Hans Hotter and Gerald Moore on piano. By the way, if I haven't said it already, you've already heard Gerald Moore several times. He is the guy for vocal accompaniment and spanning many decades as well. He might end up getting the prize at the end of this entire video survey of having the most recordings because he's just all over the place. But it's got Gerald Moore, and he recorded Winterreise many times as well. Hotter really... his version he's got that deep bass sound and this kind of calming authority that really kind of it kind of delves into the depths of the winter journey. Very, very nuanced. And like I was saying about like the idea of wisdom gained, you really get that sense here. Der Leiermann, the final song with the hurdy-gurdy man, it's taken a little bit slowly and just really poignantly. It's mono sound, but Hauter's voice, it's so big it fills up the speakers, so it's really not a problem. So this is really a great version as well. And then have to mention the king of Winterreises in terms of number of recordings and Schubert in general. Of course, Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau. I imagine if they had camcorders back in those days, we'd probably have a video of him singing Winterreise in his crib because he's just got a ton of them. I can't even count how many there are. I'm actually going to recommend two, and both of them are from the 60s when he was probably at the height of both his vocal and interpretive powers. First, this one from 1965, accompanied by Jörg Demus on piano. When I think of Fischer-Dieskau, I just think of consummate artistry. Dramatically, he just delved into every nook and cranny of the meaning of each song, and always on that bedrock of beautiful, assured tone as well. And in this version, it's very committed dramatically, particularly. So this is the one I would start with. However, I also want to recommend this one with Gerald Moore. Again, this is from 1962. And this one is not quite as overtly dramatic, I would say, if you're going to try to compare the two as this one. It's a little bit smoother. The converse of that is the beauty of it comes out a little bit more. He's a little bit more assured of tone in this one, I would say. And plus you have Gerald Moore's playing, which is also wonderful for its insight. So I would say get both of these if you can, if you're a leader nut like myself. And then next we have Fischer-Dieskau's French rival, Gérard Souzay, who of course was the king of chanson, but also really wonderful in leader singing. Particularly the sort of inward quality, introspective quality that he brought to it. There's that dreamy aspect of chanson that I think really illuminates the German leader as well. This is from 1962, accompanied by Dalton Baldwin. This set includes both of the main, we'll get to, of the song cycles as well as other Schubert songs. And his Winterreise is just really dynamic, beautifully nuanced. He brings a different color and to each song, and it's really, if you love the work, it's something that gives you a perspective that I think is invaluable. So this is also a great version. And then I want to mention a few tenor versions. This one from Peter Pears with his real-life partner Benjamin Britten, recorded in 1963. This one is also very introspective and sensitive, almost an icy character to it, which is kind of apropos with Winterreise, a feeling of stillness and delicacy, as well as able to bring out the dramatic sections as well. Both of these guys were just tremendous artists, and so even though Piers's tone at times it sounds a little bit strained with the writing, it's artistically just so illuminating that this is also one I would not want to be without. And then you have the other Peter Schreier. He did one with Andras Schiff in studio, which is a more quote-unquote conventional version. I tend to prefer this live version from 1985 with Sviatoslav Richter. The sound is pretty good for a live performance. You can barely tell, and it's really kind of goes for broke more in terms of the emotions, almost of extremes. You might even say idiosyncratic at times. Of course, what do you expect? It's Sviatoslav Richter, but I like the engagement of it. It's again, with the live recital, you do get a little bit more of that tension. And I think that really brings something to this song cycle. And then another tenor version I want to mention, a little bit more recent. This is from 2013. Jonas Kaufmann with Helmut Deutsch. Kaufmann, his sound is more kind of dark, almost this haunting quality, which does go well with this cycle, the darkness of it. He really utilizes his colors of the colors of his tone to illuminate the poetry. Very thoughtful version, very intense, beautifully recorded as well. So it's great to have a newer version to recommend, as well as this one, even newer. This is from a baritone, Swedish baritone, Peter Mattei. This is from 2018 with Lars David Nilsson on piano. This is very dramatic, very expressive, and Mattei's tone, there's this strong center to it. It's almost, ironically, an icy quality, which again kind of goes with the theme of the work. It's this haunting darkness to his tone, very seductive sounding. If you've seen him on stage for his opera roles, you might know his Don Giovanni, so he was good with that. Just a really dramatic, beautiful sounding recording. Incidentally, I'm going to kind of gratuitously slip this in here. As long as we're talking about Mattei, this isn't as well known a set of songs, but his fellow Swede, Wilhelm Stenhammar, Mattei, I think this is like 30 years old now, did this recording on Bis of Stenhammer songs that is just gorgeous. One of the most beautiful vocal recordings I know. It is perfectly suited to this repertoire. I especially like the first set, the thoughts on, or poems on thoughts of solitude, I think is what it's called, but just gorgeous. So I'm just going to kind of slip this in here. If you're a Mattei fan or just a fan of vocal repertoire in general, this is a really great disc. All right, back to Winterreise. This is a soprano version from 1988. One of the great leader performers of the past half century or so, Brigitte Fassbender with Aribert Reimann on piano, and it's really something to hear a different perspective. It actually makes you appreciate the beauty of the writing more to hear it in the soprano register. And Fassbender is just a consummate artist, a beautiful full tone, very dramatic and passionate. Really inhabits the emotions of the song. So this is also one that I think is an essential recording. And then I'm going to go back to a couple of older ones. This one was recorded in the last year of World War II, in 1945, with Peter Anders, the tenor, accompanied by Michael Rachheisen. And this is one where you have to admit that the circumstances really do seem to affect what you hear. It's sort of a one-off. It almost sounds like it's being done live. I mean, I don't know, maybe it was done in one take. It actually sounds fairly clear. I imagine it's probably that German magnetic tape. But the main thing is just the palpable emotions. It's really drawn out. Just every song is just infused with emotion. Anders had a beautiful ringing tenor tone, and it's almost I almost want to say this is more for the faint of heart, or not for the faint of heart. Maybe one of those proverbial recordings that you only hear every now and then, because I mean it really milks the drama of the work as completely as you can imagine. So I have to include this one as well. And then going back to this set, this baritone I mentioned earlier, Gerhard Hösch. This was actually the very first Winterreise recording, made in 1933 with Hans Udo Müller. Hösch was a giant of lieder singing in the early 20th century. This large baritone sound, a lot of depth and color to the sound, sort of the more golden age operatic sound, but still controlled. But another version where every song is just he just really delves into the emotions. At times you almost want to say it's melodramatic, but for me it really works. It's very direct and palpable, and I just love it. The sound quality is unfortunately a little bit dim, a little bit of hiss, but with vocal repertoire and the beauty of tone you hear here, you get over that. So, thanks for watching. I wish you all a great day and happy listening.